Hello, good evening. Welcome to How to Meditate, Discovering Buddhism, Module 2. I hope you can all hear and see me. Sorry about the technical problems last week. Hopefully we'll have a good run this week. So even if it does break up or there's some problem later, sometimes I'll keep the class going this time. I've been told to do this. And even if everybody's gone, as they did last week, because I think everybody lost contact, and then sometimes the recording continues and you can watch it on YouTube later on. So, yes, good to see some people there. That's great. So, I think we'll start with Gabrielle and Julia. Thank you. You're here. Great to see you. Not to see you, but see you here. So we'll how to meditate, brand new module, and I'm going to try and make this very practical subject, so that we'll probably spend maybe about up to half the class just doing meditation, and because how to meditate is obviously a very practical subject. And so let's start, before we actually go into details, just do some, say, 5 minutes of breathing meditation, very simple breathing meditation to calm the mind. Let's do that now. Into our body and mind, what's happening, bringing our attention inwards, making sure we're comfortable. Time to let go of the outside busy world. Spending a moment just appreciating how lucky we are to be able to do some practice, study the Dharma, Buddhist teachings. And even if we're in unusual times, we can still use technology to get together and do some practice. So just coming now into the body, making sure we're evenly balanced on the chair or the floor. Just checking our body, how tense are we? Is there any tightness in the upper body, shoulders, the neck, the head? Just focusing on the out breath and breathing out any physical tightness in the body, any tension. Feeling we're letting go. Breathing out any mental busyness, mental tension, mental stress we built up during the day. Letting it out, letting it go. Time to relax. Then just bringing more attention to the breath, feeling the gentle rhythm of the breath in the body, the movement of the body with the breath. What we're doing is just stepping aside and watching the way the breath enters and leaves the body. It's always happening, but now we're noticing it, we're being aware. staying with the breath. Also, we're just being alert for distractions, just checking, are we still on the breath? When the mind wanders, gets distracted, it's normal, we expect it. But the practice is actually noticing that, being aware and letting go of that distraction, and patiently coming back to the breath again and again. Coming home to the breath, resting the mind there on the breath. Okay, so just come back to the world, to the screen. So we'll do some more of that, have a longer session later, mindfulness of breathing. And we might, if we've got time, do another type of meditation, analytical meditation. We'll just see how we go. So, so welcome again for those people who've just joined us. And good to see the names popping up there. Ben, Gabriella, Julia, that's wonderful. So there may be some people who've just not done any discovering Buddhism before, just joined us. So if you'd like to, if you decide after the session that you want to keep going, if you give me your email address on the side there where it says say something, I'll be able to send you the handouts each week, which are just notes for what we're going to do each week, and you'll be in the loop. So I've just included everybody who did the last module, and mind and its potential. So if anybody's Maria, hello, good to see you. So if anybody's new, just let me know, and if anybody perhaps can't do any more and wants to drop out of the mailing list, let me know as well. Okay, so just the materials. materials are basically there's just a one-page course outline with 4 weeks there, the dates. The actual topics each week are very flexible, as you probably have learned. Depends on what we do each week, how much we get through. So looking at the readings, so the recommended reading. So you should also have got by email a bundle of Discovering Buddhism course readings, with readings mostly by Lama Yeshe Lama Zopa, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I think. And the other collection I sent was Kathleen MacDonald's transcript of her course when she taught this module for Discovering Buddhism. So that's excellent, because Kathleen MacDonald is the writer. Her ordained name, Venerable Sangye Kadro. So she's a very, very senior nun in the FPMT organisation. She's written the book How to Meditate, which is the one we use for our drop-in meditation on Fridays. There it is. I'm sure that's back to front. So it's available hard copy and also digital. So, but the transcript is actually, I think, in some ways better than the book, because she actually gives a lot of personal anecdotes about her experiences meditating, and it's a little bit more personal. So, so I hope you get a chance to have a look at that. I've used it quite closely for preparing tonight's class, so I recommend that one. The transcript. Now the other one I've got is a link to Alan Wallace's Sydney Mindfulness course last year. Alan Wallace, very well-known teacher of shamatha, calm abiding meditation, and travels the world teaching this sort of meditation. And so he kindly allowed us to upload all his teachings, every one, the 7-day course he ran at Balmain Town Hall last year with different practices of mindfulness. So very good, all in real time. So you can actually just listen to those teachings. You can click on. The other one is one that Wai Chong had on his list when he last taught it, Loving Kindness, Revolutionary Art of Happiness by Sharon Salzberg. So I'm not familiar with it, but I'm sure it'd be quite good. Must be very good if Wai Chong recommends it. I'll try and have a look at it. The last one, Fine Arts of Relaxation, Concentration, Meditation. Now that book's quite an old book, been around for many, many years, and it's really a very good broad coverage of all kinds of meditation, of different religions. It has Christian, Zen, Tibetan Buddhist, and written by Joel and Michelle Levy. So but all their books are very good for practice of mindfulness meditation particularly, and also some analytical type meditation. So of course, any books, this is not exhaustive. There are many other books, just about any book by Alan Wallace on mindfulness. The Attention Revolution is a very good one. It's good. And so you can discover other books as well. So, so the notes for tonight just sent out this morning. Hopefully you all got them. If anyone didn't, just let me know and I can email them. So tonight it's basically just introduction, and also we're going to do probably about 15 minutes of breath meditation, mindfulness of breathing, and perhaps a analytical meditation on rejoicing. So I'll just have a quick look. Okay, I'm looking at the feedback as I'm talking. Ben recommends highly the Sharon Salzberg book. Says it's incredible. Okay, it brought him to Buddhism, and there's a great discussion of loving kindness. Great, I must have a look at that one. So Sharon Salzborg's book, which is on your reading list, highly recommended by Ben. Okay, good. Excellent. All right. So just thought that I read Lama Zopa's book. It's not book, article in the readings. The very first article in the readings, the first extract, and I've got the 3 quotes that he gives, which is, I thought, a good start to the subject. Meditation is primarily concerned with caring for the mind. He uses that phrase a lot: caring for the mind, taking care of the mind. It sounds like it's, something that needs to be cared for, which it does, because we often forget. Just we're using the mind for all our external actions, working, dealing with the outside world, and we often forget we have a mind, and let alone to take care of it. So that's what meditation is, taking care of the mind. Alan Marsh uses the phrase returning the mind to its natural state, which is, he gives many teachings on what that means, but just to contemplate the mind to its natural state has quite a good feeling to it. Natural state, calm and clear, uncluttered, unbusy. This allows us to fulfill not only our own aims, but those of others. So ultimately, Tibetan Buddhism, the Mahayana tradition, Mahayana Buddhism, where the whole goal of all the Buddhist teachings is to obtain enlightenment, the end of all suffering, as Buddha did, and many great lamas, and not just lamas, but ordinary beings have become enlightened based on Buddhist teachings. And so this is ultimately the aim that we need to keep in mind, that it is possible to become enlightened. It is possible to escape all our suffering, and also help others to escape their suffering. And to do that, we need to have incredible, vast powers of the mind, omniscience, understanding all existence, and understanding what each individual being needs to also attain enlightenment. So we've got to become enlightened to get others in the same situation. You've got to become the doctor before you can start curing the patients. So it's last one. It's not the external appearance of our meditation. It's important. So ask: is it actually a remedy for suffering? So Rinpoche spends a bit of time sort of pointing out that everything can look perfect. We can have perfect meditation cushions and lots of beautiful statues on our altar. And look as though we're meditating. Sounds like me, I must say. But what's going on in the mind could be actually something completely different, not meditating at all, but wandering around and thinking about what we're going to have for dinner and so on. So these distractions, and so the external appearance is not important, is what you say. It's what's happening in the mind. So is what we're doing helping our mind in the short or long term? Usually the long term. Sometimes it can have short-term benefits as well, but basically we're there for the long term. Meditations for the long term. Because anything that is going to change our mind, any changes we make to the mind is going to be a long project. Very different to like taking a pill and hoping it will feel better very quickly and so on. So so that's the thing. It's the internal side of things that we're looking at in meditation. And we don't always get a feeling that we've succeeded with our obsession. That's okay. We still come back and we persevere. So we'll come back to that. Terminology, the Tibetan word is gom for meditation, and that means familiar or becoming familiar. becoming familiar with positive thoughts that will actually be a benefit to us. So this I can't remember which of the articles, which of the extracts in the readings this comes from, but there's quite a discussion, probably by Lamia Sopa, about how familiar we are with things that are not positive states of mind, which is usually something to do with our own pleasures, our own objectives, our own addictions, our own issues. We've got angers. So with meditation, we're giving it a new set of habits and familiarities. So that's why it's such a big project, long term. So we're going to becoming familiar with, for example, our own breath. And by becoming familiar with our breathing, we become familiar with the mind itself, because we're giving the chance of mind to settle in clear natural state. The Sanskrit word bhavana, you don't hear it very often, has a connotation for cultivation or development. This is with bhavana. I've heard Alan Marsh use that word quite a bit. So just we're talking about the taking care of the mind and so on. So I guess it's good. It makes sense that we've done mind module. I won't go into this, what mind is, in great detail, but just reviewing, you might remember Lama Zopa gives a good rundown on this in his article, in his extract, his teaching, pointing out that the mind is non-physical. It comes from anything physical. So it can't come from the parents. The mind is often defined as being clear and knowing, clear and able to perceive, able to apprehend things, like a perfectly clean mirror. It's completely clear, stainless, and it can detect things that pass in front of it, thoughts, sensations, physical sensations, non-physical thoughts, emotions, and so on. So this the clearness is the fact that it's non-physical, and the knowingness. If it's not physical, really the only way we can know that there is a mind is by our experience. Okay? The fact that we can think things, we can feel things, we can remember things, understand, evaluate. So these mental processes of what the mind does. So these, where these mental processes come from? Why do we keep thinking about pizza if we're hungry, or someone who might have annoyed us that keeps coming in front of us into our mind, that we actually don't want to think about that person, but they seem to have upset us and they keep coming into our mind. So these sensations, feelings, memories, and so on are caused by previous moments of mind. Every moment of mind is caused by a previous moment of mind, and that's caused by a previous moment of mind. So we've got this endless chain, cause and effect. Mind, each moment of mind caused by a previous moment, and the Buddhist of cause and effect never had a beginning. Mind is without a beginning, and will never have an end either. Mind is without beginning or end. So these are some of the features of the mind. Another one is being impermanent. There's constant changes of thoughts, like watching TV screen flashing by. There's many images, sensations. So some of them are within our control, and many of them are just the effect of previous karma, the imprints that are made by our previous actions of body, speech, and mind, all the actions of our body, speech and mind make imprints or seeds on the mind stream. Like seeds being sown into the earth, they will actually eventually bear fruit. And positive seeds produce positive, pleasant results, happiness, and negative causes, negative seeds on the mind stream will cause negative results, unhappiness and suffering. So basically, what does this mean? I've just defined it. What is a positive and negative thought? In Buddhism, it's basically said to be the result is how you define positive and negative states. So a positive state of mind will have a positive result, and a negative state of mind will have a negative result. So these examples I've got there, the time when we're angry, we may be able to see that it's having a bad effect on other people, and it could actually have the effect of causing suffering to those we're venting our anger on, and we'll certainly have suffering on our own mind later on, putting those seeds of negative actions on the mind stream. Same with positive actions like loving kindness. Usually we can feel that this is something that's a positive effect on our minds, and we'll have positive actions later, positive results later. So these positive actions, we also looked at there's actually neutral actions where, like sleeping, which have no real positive or negative karmic results. Some sleeping can be positive, but there are actions that have no particularly strong positive or mental states. I think I remember Lama Yeshe and probably Lama Zopa talking about animals who appear to be sleeping most of their life, just dozing in the sun. And they said that they're not acquiring either positive, or possibly not acquiring either positive or negative karmic imprints, but they're not actually doing anything to improve their situation either. So this is the thing that for negative actions may not have neutral actions may not have a negative effect, but we still have carrying the seeds of previous negative actions. So we need to purify and take some positive action to deal with our negative states of mind, all those karmic imprints from previous lives. So the question is, most of us only want, in fact all of us only want happiness and not suffering. Nobody wants to suffer. But in fact, due to our situation, where we've got to experience the result of our previous actions, we do suffer. And we do suffer sickness, the first type of suffering, mental problems. We also suffer things like attachment, anger, and also being in samsara, being in uncontrolled rebirth, the big type of suffering, and the third type of suffering. So what we're doing with meditation is applying some remedies to these negative states of mind. So there's a good article, the very last one in the readings by Gil, describes basically what is meditation. So he actually talks about meditation in two senses. There's actually the traditional, very broad meaning of meditation, fitting into the traditional Buddhist teachings, where to get to study the Dharma, to study Buddhism and progress along the path to liberation and enlightenment, we need to do those three things that are there on the page, on page 2. Listening, thinking, and meditation. So listening is listening to teachings. Could be, I think, including that is reading. Qualified teachers expound the Dharma. And hearing. So this is hearing the teachings, hearing. That's the first step. So basically, he says what's happening with listening is the intellect's at work. We're trying to understand the point, what's being made. Probably this is what happens in most of our schooling, university and so on. Our traditional education, we're listening and intellectually trying to understand the reasoning and the concepts and memorize and so on. That's basically what we need to do to pass the exams, to understand what's being said and demonstrate that we do. So this is said to be the fairly superficial type of mental activity or stage in Buddhist learning. Second one is thinking, where we actually analyze and look at what is being said from different angles. So he gives the example of that all things are impermanent. Impermanence is a big part of Buddhist teaching. So we can listen, if somebody gives a teaching on impermanence, it sounds pretty easy to comprehend. Second one is to think, why is this so? What's the reasoning? And so we can listen short term, there's cells changing from time to time, from moment to moment. All those minute changes happening at the molecular, atomic level. And then there's gradual aging of the body over time where things gradually deteriorate, the all mind there. But this is where we need the skill of concentration. You have to place the mind on one object and leave it there. So meditation this is called meditation, where we actually place the mind single-pointedly on the object. And in our example, it's impermanence, so we place the mind on the impermanence of the body and the mind, the aggregate, what makes us, what makes up a person, mental and physical collection. So in meditation, we actually leave the mind there and get the feeling for it. Feeling's very important. So this is the last type of learning, meditation. So that's the sort of traditional place of meditation in the whole of the Buddhist teaching. More commonly, there's just the distinction between two types of meditation, which is placement meditation, concentration. That's the calm abiding, the one that was just referred to in the 3-point analyzing the mind on a particular. Good for pacifying the mind, but ultimately it's like sharpening the knife. And then once the mind has been pacified and we can actually make it serviceable, we can actually put the mind on particular objects such as impermanence and emptiness, and leave the mind there and get experiential feeling of the truth of these experiences. So those two types, meditation, this is sort of the everyday of meditation, single-pointed. Many different words used for the first type, concentration meditation. Sometimes it's not very, I know some teachers don't like that word because it sounds as though you're putting a lot of effort into it. But to be successful in the concentration meditation, you actually have to be quite relaxed. Also called single-pointed placement meditation. It's what Kathleen MacDonald calls it, placement. Calm abiding, shamatha is the Sanskrit word. Calm abiding is nice. I like calm abiding. Sounds like such more feeling of the effect of it. So these bring about a calm state of mind and a sort of concentration of our mental energies. So we're not being distracted. We're focusing. So that's the first type. Now, once the mind is able to focus to some extent, doesn't have to be perfect, just a few minutes can be useful to be able to calm the mind. Then we can calm the mind. Then we can use this analytical meditation. This is sometimes called vipassana or insight meditation. To look at and experience and feel things like impermanence, emptiness, compassion. So we need both of these types of meditations to make progress on the path. We need both placement, calm abiding meditation, and analytical meditation. How are we going for time? I'm just checking. Okay. Right. So I've just got a few points there, generally about meditation and how, if the mind wasn't changeable, wasn't impermanent and able to be changed, of course, there wouldn't be any point in doing meditation if it was something fixed, not dependent on cause and condition. So need to accept that there is impermanence in our negative states of mind, and they're often referred to as clouds. Kathleen MacDonald, in her book and also her transcript, refers to these passing negative states of mind, anger, attachment, envy, so on, as clouds that are passing through the sky. There's this sense of impermanence that they will go. And behind that is this clean, clear Buddha nature that we all have, where the mind is not stained by these aberrations or these negative states of mind. So the other thing is that we can develop great powers, especially by developing concentration, calm abiding meditation, shamatha. So all the teachers and teachings say these powers are just incidental. They shouldn't be what drives us. Clairvoyance is often said to be one of the effects of calming the mind, clairvoyance. And Rinpoche and all the teachers say that we've actually experienced this many times in the past, because we've experienced so many different states of mind in all past lives, but it hasn't made us enlightened. So it's not regarded as a great objective. Clairvoyance can be very useful if you're trying to help others, but it's not the end, not regarded as an objective. There are also things like having miraculous powers, flying through the air, levitating, and so on. So it's said that these are all byproducts from, just treat them as byproducts, move on, keep going. So other thing some of the experiences can be quite negative. We can have visions that have come up due to past karmic imprints on the mind. Might be terrifying, might be scary. Why is this scary vision coming into my mind? Or it could be very beautiful, peaceful experiences, great calm, great feeling of tranquility. So these ups and downs are all said to be part of the process of calming the mind, working with the mind, taking care of our mind. And we move on, not to get attached to it. But Kathleen MacDonald makes this point quite strongly. There are many things along the way that can happen, but to not be distracted, not be discouraged or attached to them. So, not that I've had any of these things happen to me, no great progress at all. So, so the other thing is the what some teachers call mindfulness, where the new model, the new positive psychology that's very popular at the moment, where they do use mindfulness and thinking positive thoughts and so on, as a way of making us feel better. Wrong, it's quite valid to want to relieve our suffering and to calm the mind. So mindfulness meditation is very useful, particularly in trauma, people suffering trauma from causes, or maybe just depression and so on, which don't seem to have a cause. So there's nothing wrong with this use, the wellness industry, but Rinpoche actually, in fact, all the teachers say this should not be our objective, to have some sort of bodily benefit. It's actually that's quite a self-orientated objective. So remembering that Rinpoche said actually the object is to actually ultimately become enlightened. And so sometimes it can be a first step to calm the mind, to heal ourselves if we're mentally disturbed. So using mindfulness for that is very good. And then moving on to something that, understanding that there's a context to the subject of meditation, and the context is all the Buddhist teaching. So the Tibetan Buddhist, or any sort of Buddhist teachings of meditation, is in the context of all the other Buddhist teachings on compassion and wisdom, particularly. Not just it's taught in isolation, not just a technique. So that wonderful quote there that Wai Chong had from his notes from when he taught the subject, you might just like to read it. In fact, I will read it from the Buddha. Disperses and quells on the spot. Just now getting down to the actual preparation to do a session meditation. We're looking now at the mindfulness meditation. So this is something that we do in abbreviated form every time we do drop-in meditation. And so the first thing is the posture, the physical body. Traditionally, there's this what they call the 7-point posture. Full lotus position, that means both legs crossed, a bit like the arms crossed, both legs crossed, each foot resting on the opposite thigh. So very difficult. I could actually do that probably in my 20s and 30s, but it's been decades since I could do full lotus. And I couldn't even then do it for very long. So the half lotus is a compromise where just one leg rests on the other thigh, and the other leg is just tucked in underneath. It's a bit more comfortable. So basically, you adapt. And of course, for people who can't sit cross-legged at all, you sit on a chair. That's what I've been doing for quite a few years. So you adapt. These are not cast in stone. The 7-point posture. It's an ideal. The hands. The right hand rests on the left, with the thumbs just touching, just like that. So that's said to be the traditional auspicious posture for the hands. Something to do with the energy lines of the body coming together at the hand. But again, where it's comfortable, the main thing is to be comfortable. So if they're more comfortable just resting on the thighs, wherever, put them there. So the back's, is important. The back is straight, whatever, the pelvis is slightly tilted forward. If you're on the chair, it's better usually to not lean back unless you've got spinal problems, but to just keep the spine straight. And if you're lying on the floor, which is said to be fine as well, that's called the corpse position, the supine position, Ryan Wallace calls it. So lying down with the back straight again. So where are we? the head and the neck. So the head's just resting naturally on the neck, the shoulders relaxed, and just slightly tilted forward. So it's not back, but just slightly tilted forward. The eyes could be completely closed or just partly open, gazing in front. Closed unless you've got a cold, and the tongue's just resting on the palate at the top, behind the top teeth. That's to stop you dribbling. I traditionally, if you have that problem. So the mouth's just relaxed, the jaw's relaxed, and the tongue's just touching the top of the palate. So this is adaptable, particularly in Tibetan Buddhism. There's less of traditions, like in the Zen tradition, where they're very, very strict about having perfect posture. So I like the reasoning that saying that if the body's not relaxed and comfortable, the mind can't be. You're going to be distracted by pain and so on. And if you are in pain, it's good to adjust. Although Kathleen MacDonald says in her transcript that sometimes if the pain is not obviously severe, it's quite good to actually see if we can actually persist. Various distractions could be, pain could be one of them, could be noise or other things, just so that we're not looking for absolutely perfect conditions, because we'll never get perfect conditions in any situation till we become enlightened. So that's the physical body, the physical posture. Even so, probably before this, and I didn't put anything in the notes, but before any meditation session, there's usually some mention of motivation. Mental posture is sometimes called. So reminding us that if we're doing Tibetan meditation, we're in the Vajrayana tradition, we're doing our practice not just for our own benefit, but the benefit of others. We're looking at the wider reasons. So we're not just doing it for our own comfort or relief, but we've got this idea of becoming enlightened for the benefit of other beings, which is what Rinpoche says our meditation is all about. So we just need to keep that in the back of our minds. So then, once we're in our posture, the thing is to relax. And sometimes, some of Alan Wallace's classes, he spends probably almost the entire session just relaxing the body, just going through and relaxing each part of the body. So it is important. One technique to help us relax is to focus on the out breath, which I do sometimes in our introductory meditation. And imagine we're breathing out physical tension and mental tension, all the physical holding on and all mental distractions and obstacles. It's just feeling that we're purging ourselves from these cluttered physical and mental obstacles. That can be quite useful. And the idea of surrendering ourselves to gravity, to let go, can be also very useful. So there's this wonderful image of being held by the earth, as if the earth is a palm, and you're in the palm of the hand being held. Just trusting yourself to be held by the earth, which is, of course, always going to be able to hold us, rather than just holding ourselves in position, but just releasing to the earth, surrendering ourselves to gravity. Just checking whether I've covered everything. So then the last thing is to just now bring our mind to whatever object we're going to use for meditation. This particular one is our breath. So we're using the breath as the object, and the breath is always there. It's been there since we were born, and now we're going to take notice of it, because normally we don't. So it's not we're not changing the breath in any way. We're just observing, as if we're watching, we're stepping aside and just watching how the breath comes and goes into the body. And not a very interested bystander, like a neutral bystander. That's what's happening there. So the technique is unbelievably simple, but the actual doing of it is quite difficult. Because then we start to realize that the mind is not really happy being on the breath because it's not used to being so sort of focused, you see. So it can get bored, wander. And so this part of our mind that they often call introspection, it's actually just monitoring, just checking, spying, Rinpoche calls it. A spy watching what's happening in the meditation. So that spy needs to be alert, it's often called alert, for when the mind leaves the breath and we've gone wandering off to a different time or place. So that's introspection. So in the beginning, that can happen so often, and sometimes it can feel that just by meditating, the mind's made more discursive, more restless. But in fact, what we're doing is just getting a chance to see how discursive and how distracted it is, because we're actually noticing it. So there isn't any more activity, but we're just watching it. We're just being aware of it. So when we find ourselves moving away from the breath, and can take some time, can be minutes, can be even the whole session before you realise you've actually lost the breath. But to realise it then and bring it back, even just once, is said to be the practice. And we should be grateful that we notice. That's said to be, give ourselves points, don't have too many expectations, and just be patient. This is changing the mind, so it's baby steps, and we should not expect quick results. So so I've just got one. Notice that there's a comment that I'm cutting in and out. I'm sorry. Not sure why that is. Gabriella, thank you for that. So I'll keep going, because sometimes it can just sometimes the recording can still record and you can watch later on. So I'm sorry if it is cutting in and out. So the mind's actually doing these two things for breath meditation. We're placing it on the breath, and we're also checking, placing and checking, being alert for when it's not on the breath. So the session can be as short as a minute or two, particularly in the beginning, or it can be much longer. So it's said that if we do a short session, a good short session of a few minutes, then it's much better than doing a long session of say 20 or 30 minutes where we're actually distracted most of the time. So so it's also said to be good to start with short sessions and gradually get longer when new to mindfulness meditation. Traditionally, because we've got a drop-in meditation does 20 to 24 minutes of mindfulness meditation. I think most of all the teachers use that sort of time frame, but that's quite a long time. So particularly if you're new, so you can start at home doing say 3 to 5 minutes for a week or two, and then if you're confident, say go to 10 minutes, then maybe a bit longer. And even there's a chance if you're just sitting on the bus or going to work and you've just got a few minutes, you just do that practice for as long as time allows, just those few minutes, a nano meditation, and just bringing the mind to the breath just for that time you've got. can be very beneficial. All right, so look, feel free to, where it says say something, to ask any question. But I think maybe we may not have time for an analytical meditation. So maybe we'll do a 15-minute breath meditation, and I'll lead meditation for, say, the first 10 minutes with less and less guidance as we get into the practice. Then the last 5 minutes will be just meditating in silence. Meditating in silence. Okay, so we'll. The first thing is to get comfortable. Okay, so we'll. The first thing is to get comfortable. So if wherever you are, in a chair, cross-legged on the floor, lying on the floor. But I actually found that I did probably a better session lying down than I did sitting up. But I think that had something to do with Alan Marsh guiding us. So I was also at the Balmain Town Hall. I guess I was aware of being amongst others. So I wanted to start snoring. Anyway, so you can just try it if you want to try the prostrate, the supine position, the corpse position, lying down. Otherwise, just get comfortable. Okay, so we'll just do a session now, 15 minutes. Okay, we begin our breathing, mindfulness of breathing practice by just coming into the body and mind, bringing our awareness inwards. A few moments just to adjust our motivation while we're doing the practice. Calming the mind, taking care of the mind. Taking care of the mind, ultimately for the benefit of all other beings. Now we come into the body, bringing our awareness into the body, fully into the body, feeling the weight of our body on the chair or the floor, contact where our body meets the surface. Scanning our body for any pockets of tension. Scanning our body for any pockets of tension, particularly around the upper body. Are the shoulders relaxed? The neck and the head. Are we evenly balanced on the sofa? The face and the eyes relaxed, soft. Whether the eyes are open or closed, they're softly focused, feel relaxed. Focusing now on the out breath. With each out breath, have a sense of releasing, letting go. Nothing to hold on to. Feeling gravity gently pulling us into the earth, letting ourselves be held by the earth. relaxing more deeply with each out breath, letting go. And now giving our attention to the full breath, the movement of the body with each breath, feeling the air filling the body, the air leaving the body. Getting the rise and fall of the abdomen with each breath. Have a sense of just resting our mind on the breath, like resting a heavy load, putting it down on the breath. And while we're putting most of our focus on the breath, a small part of the mind is just spine, just checking, are we to a different time and place? Just following each breath all the way in, all the way out. As the mind settles, we may be aware of the quality of the breath, whether it's a short breath, long breath, even breath, uneven breath. Whatever the breath is doing, we notice. We're there, we're aware. Don't judge, just observe. thoughts may come.